Hi guys, welcome back for Outdoor Pursuit, mountain biking and cycling. Again, we're here for another skill. So for this, what I'm going to be explaining to you guys as a students is just kind of a couple things to always look for when you're going up to your bike to make sure it's ready for either the mountain biking out in the actual trails, which is going to be harder on your bike, so it's that much more important. Or if you're just cycling through town. Again, either way, it's important, of course, because this is your equipment. Always respect your equipment, but you got to make sure you're ready to go. Make sure these are things the bike is ready and prepared for to handle. So first and foremost, ABC check, which is air, brakes, chain. That's always the first thing that should come to mind when you're looking at your bike. And again, this is important because whether it's your own bike or the school's, which yes, in this case scenario for our lesson that I'll be leading you guys in, you'll be using the school's bikes. So I know some of you guys are thinking you might not care as much, but this stuff is important because if you get out on the trail and your bike breaks down for good, then we got some bigger issues at hand. So ABC check, air, brakes, air, brakes, chain. So for air, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about air in the tires. So of course, the easiest way to check this is go up, give a good push, lock out your arm, and give a good push. So these I just pumped them up, they're nice and firm. You don't want them rock solid, you want them slightly, flat's not the right word, but slightly like pushy like a balloon, because that way when you do hit bumps and stuff out in the trails, it acts as more suspension. So I checked that, I checked my back one, that one's good too. So we got A, okay? Now B is brakes. So for brakes, each of you guys' mountain bike is gonna have front and back. Front is left, and then rear is right. So I'm squeezing the front ones. Those are good, I'm not moving. And then my back ones here, not moving either. So those are rock solid. If you do have problems with those, get closer. Right here, you can pull this wire through more, which tightens the clamps. So that way, when you go to squeeze, you have to squeeze less and it's tighter brakes. So if your brakes are ever, if you really have to squeeze to try and get your tires to stop, that means you're just gonna pull this wire through more to get those clamps closer, because then when you do go to brake, you're gonna have to squeeze very little and you're gonna be braking right away. So those are brakes, did air, now chain. It's especially important with chain because for the chain and the mountain bike, you're gonna be changing gears a lot with the different terrain. So a chain, you wanna check it out. Usually grab, wiggle it around, make sure it's not too loose. Obviously, if it's loose, that means it's about to fall off, and then, like I said before, then we're gonna have some bigger issues. Chain's not even a huge issue, but these are things we definitely wanna check. So I'm looking at my chain, I see it's good. I wiggle it around a little bit, it's good. I have it set in middle gears right now, which is fine for starting. Not that any of that matters, but when you do want to make sure, especially the gear changes, you always want to change gears as you're biking, because if you change them while stationary, your chain's not going to move. And when you're checking your chain before you go, you want to make sure it's on the same gears, because as your chain, you got 3 different gears here on the big one, and then 7 on the small one. And if they're on different gears, you're not going to be able to tell if your chain's loose and whatnot. So ABC check, always most important. Another thing, obviously safety, the biggest thing we can have. Doesn't matter, I don't care if you guys have biked your entire lives or never biked before, everybody's gonna be wearing a helmet. Safety is the most important thing. If not, you guys will be sitting back in the office, simple as that. So did ABC check, we've got a helmet of course. And then other thing I want to point out, it's always good to have a bike lock, no matter if you're doing the trails or through town. Again, you guys will be using school bikes, so I know some of you guys are thinking, it doesn't matter as much because it's not yours, but you should still care. Bike lock's always good to have. You never know when you're gonna need to stop and stuff like that for various situations. So there's just kind of your basic rundown on the bike. Last thing I'll talk about is gears. You have your main gears here on the left, which are your big ones. It's gonna be 1 through 3. Smaller gears here on the right, which are your smaller ones, 1 through 7. Your smaller gears are on the farther back rear tire, and then your bigger gears are right in the middle of the bike. So that's the basic rundown of a mountain bike. Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned, or stay on the lookout for the next video. Thanks, guys.